7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Welcome back to another episode of the Moto Aftermath Show.
Guys like the backdrop?
We've put up a backdrop.
It's great.
And the logo goes on in 3, 2, 1. I'm just kidding. I can't put the logo back there. I tried. It didn't work.
Maybe when we get a sponsor.
Maybe. Anyway, back at it here. Monster Energy Cups in the book. Books,
plural.
Books.
Singular, one of the two.
Whatever. Anyway, Monster Energy Cup wrapped up last night. More questions than answers, I think.
Yeah.
So let's start. Before we start with the Monster Energy Cup, let's talk about the other announcement they made this week. Because there will be a press conference Tuesday for anybody who doesn't know to talk about the changes they have coming to Supercross for next year. But the one announcement they did make this week, Milestone coming out with Supercross video game in February sometime is when it's coming out. Looks pretty awesome. Milestone makes the MXGP series video games, which in my opinion are the best motocross games out there right now as far as physics go, as far as like track deterioration goes. It's awesome. So the fact that they're doing a Supercross one that's going to have all the tracks, all the bikes, all the riders, I'm pumped. Keep an eye on the channel. As soon as it comes out, I'll buy it. My brother's got the setup, so I'll be playing it, recording it, putting videos up. I'll probably suck at it, but I'm okay with it. It's totally fine. So that's all we need to say about that. Now, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button down below. Make sure that you are clicking those Amazon links if you want to help us out, because we get a small slice of that. There's also a PayPal donation link down there, so if you guys just want to donate a couple of bucks to us,
a couple. It could be like 3. It
could be 37 cents. We really don't care.
That was very specific.
I would donate 37 cents to me.
37.5.
Anywho, there's that. And then once we hit the 2018 A1 preview, we will have t-shirts for sale at that point. I'm working on them right now. What I mean by working on them is the order is placed. We're just waiting for them to show up. So, there's all that. Make sure to follow us on Facebook too. Doing a weekly blog on there. Ha! And it's working.
Whatever, dude.
Did you see how many freaking people were looking at the one from last week?
I don't give a damn.
So awesome. It won't fucking work. No one gives a shit what
they don't give a shit.
They watch us.
Whatever.
Anywho, follow us on Facebook at the Moto Aftermath Show. I do a blog every week. I talk about something, usually...
He was wrong this past week.
Something that happens in the sport.
It was funny.
Like, for example, this week's blog was talking about Barcia versus Geyser. So, now it, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll keep writing it, but who knows what it's going to be about. It could be about something random. You never know.
Straight rhythm.
Yeah, that could be next week's, but I don't know. Anyway, let's jump into this. Track talk. You go first. I've talked a lot already.
All right. Well, this is going to be a little bit longer than normal, guys, because we discussed this before we went on the show. Normally, when you do these podcasts, not just us, just about everybody, they do the typical bullshit answer. Hey, the track was this. Hey, the track was that. And then they kind of move on. Well, we're going to talk about the track a little bit more this time. First off, biggest issue. Yes, hated it. Both of us hated it, but let's expand a little. First off, biggest problem, and I know everybody sees it, whether it be Monster Cup or the last round in Vegas, Sam Boyd Stadium is very hard, not only for the obvious reason of being in the desert, but because it's a completely open stadium to keep traction in the dirt. People will say, well, all the West Coast rounds are open stadiums too. That is true. But a lot of those stadiums are baseball parks, so you have a little bit more of a round base at the top where you can get a little bit of shade. This track, completely open, so by the time you go into the night show, it's concrete, blue groove, like you're literally almost hitting cement. It's really hard to get enough rip into the dirt without hitting the bottom base because it is such a thin layer. And they go out with a rototiller instead of a chisel, so they overwater the piss out of it. So you get situations like last night where it's literally completely greased from all the way the exiting of the stadium to the entering of the stadium. It's always going to be that issue with Vegas, but last night, I couldn't believe how much water they put down, especially with how it looked like as cold as it got last night. It was terrible. Like, they need to figure out a different system. They need to either add in some sand, thicken up the base, and then get a chisel out there instead of a rototiller. It was just terrible. Like, that was inexcusable. Like, they're really bad, like, for those first heat races at the beginning of the year in Supercross with 250s. That shit was unacceptable for, like, the first 3 mains. Like, it was just, and even ask Eli Tomac, he'll tell you it. Second thing, track was very technical in my opinion, but frickin' was one-lined as hell. I hated the fact that to hit the fast line in the rhythm section, you were hitting booters where you were getting a ton of lift, but not a lot of momentum rolling forward. That doesn't equal if you're a half a bike length behind a guy that's going to hit the same line as you to close the gap on him unless you completely just slam him in the fucking bull corner. Second thing, no transitions from the landings to the face. Everybody will say, well, oh, that's Supercross. Well, at least in most Supercrosses, you have a little bit of a transition rolling into the pocket of the face to get the bike to settle, and you can get a little bit better drive if you commit to it. There was no transitions where you could separate yourself. It was either literally you were going to soak it up and stay low and maybe 2, 3, 3 or whatever, or you were just going to commit and hit the fast line and everybody was going to stay the same. And last but not least, which kind of goes to my second point, and you could ask Timmy G about this, no transitions, once again, to adapt if you clip the landing, either clip it or frame it. Not going to work. The track completely sucked. There was no separation. And once again, when you get a ton of lift but not a lot of momentum rolling forward because you're afraid to face the next jump, doesn't equal for good racing. The only thing that was good is all the bolt corners. Aside from that, I'm over Monster Cup. I literally think that this race is pointless as hell. We have not had good racing since, 2013 when it was Stu and Villapoto. Last year, had Kenny not crashed, he won the 2 mains by a lot. He was going to win the third one had he not crashed, or the second one. He was out front. The year before that, terrible racing. I think they need to do away with the event. I get it. It's an exhibition race. But once again, hey, Tomac, not going to Motocross of Nations. How'd that work out for you after you crashed the first time and decided to just leave? How'd that work out for you? Was it really worth it? Did you win the $1 million? No, you didn't win the $1 million. Okay. All right.
All right. Well, that was a fired up answer.
I am. I'm fired up. The fucking racing other than the amateurs was terrible, which I hope we talk about that too.
Well, the amateur racing was great.
Yeah, and we can go on that later if you want to, because I actually kind of want to talk about them. But aside from the big boys, it was terrible.
But okay, yeah. Let me talk about the track from another point of view here of yes, it was horrible. The fact that they have a rhythm section coming in from Monster Alley, so you have to go 55, 65 miles an hour and then slam the brakes up the face to freaking triple through. Dumb. Absolutely stupid. Absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And then, like you said, there's no transitions. You're just face, pocket, and we saw it bite a bunch of people. I mean, Bogle got crossed up, but I assume that was probably because somebody got out of shape.
He said somebody crossed up on him.
And then you've got Timmy G crashes because of that. You have the way they ripped the track and over water, the piss out of it was probably a good portion of what caused Eli to crash. I mean, there was just so much of the track that it wasn't smooth. It didn't look cool.
It did not flow at all.
It wasn't a fun thing to watch. Hell, we're watching the Super Minis right now. They're over jumping the freaking step up into the finish, and then like basically almost jumping into the face of the finish.
Well, the Amateur All-Stars race, Seth Hamaker did the same thing on the first lap.
Yeah.
He literally faced into the landing or the face of the finish, G'd out on the front end, and his bike stayed loaded, and all you saw, and you just go as soon as he left the face.
You can't have that long a straightaway into that steep and short of jumps.
Bike's not meant to settle like that.
You cannot do that.
You can't go that fast to braking. It doesn't work.
Like, I get that they're trying to change it up every year, and Ricky's trying to progress different stuff. That's fine. Okay, we like the starts. That was cool. I like the start on the top. I like the split start. I thought that was cool, where you go out here and go right, or you go out here and you go left, and then they come together. I thought that was fine. But the rest of it, you have to come up with something different.
I think they're trying to do too much.
Yeah.
And then they have the Joker lane, which is supposed to actually separate you, and if the guys are out front, allow the guys that are like 4th or 5th to close the gap. You can't have the Joker lane be 10 seconds faster than the initial track.
No, that was, I mean...
Like, that didn't really matter in the end because it's only one lap, but like last year it was almost 15 seconds slower to take the Joker lane than it was to take the initial track.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's not the point to be faster than the Joker lane.
But the Joker lane has been one of those things since they put it in. Everybody's been on both sides of the fence. Oh, I like it. Oh, I don't. For different reasons. It's too slow. It's too fast. You know, all that kind of stuff. It's one of those things. It's just like an extra element to it, which that's the least of my concerns at this point for what's going on with this race. It's more the fact of how the transitions were built. Like, I don't know, maybe they had somebody different building it than the normal crew that builds the Supercross races, but it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It wasn't good to watch. It wasn't, I'll tell you right now, if you ask 90% of those guys, it wasn't good to ride.
No, they hated it. Marv had a lot of shit to say about it afterwards.
So, yeah. Oh, did Marv do an interview already?
Yeah, he did an interview, but it wasn't like with Supercross or Feld or anything. It was with like, what is it, Moto X Addicts or whatever.
Oh.
There was a couple. And then another thing, too, to expand on that, and you can keep saying the same thing over, if you get off rhythm, off the fast rhythm, through the, the far side rhythm section, you get in this situation where the faces, which would normally be the landings that are not built up, unless you preload the shit out of it, you're going from a 3-foot face to trying to hit the fast line and stretch over to a 7-foot face, and you end up clipping it with a rear wheel. So if you get off rhythm whatsoever out of the fast line, even if you're not trying to huck the fast line, you can't get over it. And that's why you've seen a lot of dudes just tagging the landings with a rear wheel and pitching them. Because like I said, you're literally going from a flat 3-foot face to a vertical 6-7-foot face. It doesn't work. And it's just, I know that maybe I'm overreacting a little bit, but I think that this race last night really proved that all this hype that we put around Monster Cup, it doesn't really mean anything to anybody after the first main if you don't win. Because the racing was terrible.
And that's a situation of, like, I've heard a bunch this week, they haven't raised the purse money in 20 years. If you don't win the million, it's the same exact payout they had when they started it 20 years ago at the MGM Grand for the freaking US Open.
Yep.
Same exact payout. And as I heard this week too, if you finish like top 8, top 10, it pays a little bit better than a Supercross race. If you finish 10th to 22nd, you get paid worse than a Supercross race. So if you are going to go, but you don't think that you're good enough, and prime example, Kyle Chisholm was who I was heard talking about this. He didn't think, because he hadn't been riding and stuff really that much, that he was going to get outside or inside the top 10 with much ease. So why waste your time to go? By the time he flies out there and everything and does all this stuff, he figured if he finished, 10th to 13th or whatever, which is about where he thought he might finish, he was going to maybe make like $1,000. He's in Florida right now at his Florida house. There's a big money pro race at WW Ranch,
the Florida State Championship.
So he's like, if I go there, I can race for 45 minutes and make $6,000.
Yeah, I think the dude in 22nd gets like $200.
Yeah.
Which it cost about $800 to enter this race when it's all said and done. Even if you live in the California area, which is not that far of a drive, it's a lot of money.
Yep. So what basically needs to happen, like, I know we talk all the time about Feld needs to loosen the purse strings during the season, everything like that. That's a whole nother subject. If you want to really promote and get your off-season race like this really on the map, you're going to have to loosen the purse strings and get more people there and not just say, hey, by the way, if you win, you get $1 million.
Problem is that Feld's never going to do that. The only way you'll see that is if places like Monster Energy, the title sponsor is like, hey, we're going to put more money into it.
The thing is, okay, why can't you do a $500,000 purse? Like, no, don't forget the million. Okay, we're not going to do $1 million race. Do a $500,000 purse every year. I bet you that brings some fucking dudes out.
It would.
If you do 500,000 and then slowly drop, like, okay, say you go, okay, we're going to do a $1 million total purse. Okay, and you start at $500,000 and then say 200,000 and 100,000. So that way, once you get all the way down to like 22nd place, you're still paying those guys $6-7 grand.
I think the biggest thing is that a lot of these guys, like even say Baggett and Webb, and had Weston had more time on the bike and had Davey not got hurt, well, Davey was already in for it, but some of these other guys, that were looking at going and then just decided not to, or maybe weren't going to go no matter what happened. I think they look at it is that if you don't win the main and you can't get the million, even if you can get more money, they look at it as this race, and we've seen it last night with how many people got hurt. It's so iffy because it's not a typical Supercross track, and it's hard because you do come from sections where you're coming third gear wide open into braking real hard, the bike unsettles, and then you're into a phase where you're just constantly unloading, loading, unloading. So it's hard to set up the bike. More things can go wrong. These guys look at it as, well, if I don't got a shot at the million, it's really not worth it because I can have a situation where last night, say Bogle had landed on his arm wrong and broke his arm. Okay, he's done for the first few months. They don't want to take the chance. They'd rather just, hey, I'd rather just go get ready for Supercross.
Yeah, but I still feel like we would have had more guys there, but this is a super injury season in my opinion. I mean, you've got Baggett had his thumb was basically falling off, so he had to have surgery on that. Seeley was having the plate taken out of his hand, that's why he wasn't there. Webb had surgery, that's why he wasn't there. Pike, yeah, he didn't have the bike set up, so okay, cool, that's fine. That's not why he's not there. Kenny's on the mend, still recovering, like riding, but still recovering, so that's why he wasn't there. I mean, you could have got Millsaps was going to be there. He got hurt the other day, so I mean, you've got 5 or 6 other big dudes that would have showed up, but
that shows though that these guys, and I really don't think had Baggett been healthy and had Coop been healthy, they would go. Maybe Coop more because of the monster situation. But these guys don't care about this race as much as everybody says it does. And that's the thing. Okay, Coop would have been there. If he would have done shitty in the first race, I guarantee you he would have not gone a crap after the 2 mains.
Yeah.
Because they look at it as they're like, oh, the million's over with. I don't really care. Like, I get what you're saying, but I completely disagree with all these people saying that Monster Cup means a lot to these guys. It doesn't mean a lot to these guys if you're not sponsored by Monster Energy. Mm-hmm. Like, they just don't. It really does not mean anything to any of those guys. They'd almost not want it. They'd almost rather not do it. But because of the location and it being in Las Vegas, all the teams feel they need to be there. It's pointless for these guys. Like they don't care about this race as much as everybody says they do. That's like back in the day when the U.S. Open, like when they still had the $1 million. Dude, you would get in situations where the top guys, there would be 3 top guys that would show up to the race, and that was it. Like guys that just. There was years that when Ricky didn't win, Damon Huffman would win it, and Damon Huffman in a normal Supercross race was 10th. Mm-hmm. Guys don't care. This race does not mean as much to everybody as they think it do. They just make a big deal out of it, and I'm at the point where if it goes away, I really could give a shit less. Because it was great for the amateurs, but as far as the 450 class, I was not entertained. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that great. So,
all right. Well, anything else about the track? Because we kind of get off on a tangent about money there too. So.
Well, no, but see, that's the thing though. It all adds up to why these guys don't go to this race. Mm-hmm. I mean, look how many people every year get hurt at this race.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Kenny last year could have gotten hurt before he even got to A1 because of what happened. So it all deals with the same frickin' thing. It all comes down to it.
Yep. So, all right, that's enough track talk. Let's get into the racing. Okay, 450 guys, the big boys. Where do you want to start?
You want to just start with how you have it wrote?
I mean, we can. So the first thing, Justin Bogle died. So let's move on.
Wow, that was quick. That was quick. All right, cool. That's great.
No, Bogle got apparently cross-jumped on, which with all the cameras in the stadium, not a one saw him get cross-jumped on and crash. But apparently he got cross-jumped on and crashed. He was out.
Yeah,
they went back to him and he was laying there, he was out.
I was a little worried that he broke his arm with how limp his arm went on the left side.
Yeah, and as I told you as we were talking before we hit record, that's pretty much JGR's luck.
Yeah, no shit.
like, hey, by the way, yeah, we can't win no matter what. We just can't do good. Win. We can't have nice things. Like
I honestly thought though before the night show when I was with my buddies talking to him and stuff that I thought that he could have had a shot. I don't know about getting on the box, but I definitely thought that 4th or 5th was going to be where he probably was going to end up.
Yep.
And who knows where he would have ended up. You know, it's an easy transition. The bike's not that much different from the RCH bike. You know, yeah, the new bike is, but I'm saying the whole program that he's got, you're basically going from one factory team to another, so it's not more pressure on being on there. I still think Bogle's going to have a good upcoming year if he stays healthy and stuff, but that is JGR's luck with all the injuries they had this year. Never really having, other than Weston, a solid guy throughout the whole entire year, and even Weston missing Supercross. So that's pretty much JGR's, that's the karma that they have.
Yep.
They just have a black crowd circling
They do.
circling the shop.
But one year that's going to come together for them.
Well, it's been about going on 9 years, so when's that going to happen?
1 year.
2025?
Lucky number 13.
I don't think J-Bone and Coy want to hear that.
Yeah. Anyway, so Justin Bogle wadded it hard. Eli Tomac wadded it hard. Would you like to talk about that, or would you like me to talk about that?
I mean, there's not really much to say. Like, he was looking good that first main before they red flagged it because of Bogle. But, it really makes you wonder that, okay, it was only like 2 laps. Marv got around him and stuff, and Eli was marking him. That first main, and granted it was like, 4 laps. So once again, we're talking about 10 laps, so we don't really have much to base off of. Who knows who's saying that Marv wasn't just sitting back there pacing him with how you saw Marv ride the rest of the other 2 mains.
Yep.
So who knows? We don't know. Eli looked good, and then Marv might have just decided on lap 8 he was going to pull the trigger and go around him. I thought this was going to be the year for Eli, was going to win the million, and he was going to be the second monster rider to do it since Villapoto did it. But
Nope.
I also said that if he didn't win it, and I didn't think it was going to be a crash, but the fact that whether it was or not, it doesn't really matter. I think it was a disappointment for him not to win the million, to be honest with you. Coming off the 450 championship, finally getting that, cliche 800-pound gorilla off his back. How well he did in Supercross, losing the championship by whatever it was, but winning as many races as he did. Mm-hmm. I thought that if he didn't win the million, crash or not, that this race was going to be a fail. He could have won the 2 mains by 20 seconds, Kenny style, last year, and crashed the 3rd, and it still would have been a failure to me that he didn't win the million. I'm sorry, it just was. No knock on Marv, because he rode great, but let's be real. Everybody coming to this race had to have pegged Eli to be the guy who was going to win.
Yeah, I think pretty much that was most of the talk of everybody was kind of like, yeah, there, that's it. That's the dude. That's the guy. And he looked good. He did. When the race started and he got around Marv and he took off, I was like, okay, cool. Like, there he is. He's out a couple seconds already. Like, this is going to be great. Red flag, restart. Him and Marv are battling a little bit. I was like, I'll take a couple laps, but then he'll go. And then, yep. Okay. All right. Let's quit talking about that. That's enough of that.
Well, I'm not as sad because Kenny's riding again, so whatever.
Now, saddest moment of the night for me.
Because it cost him a bet.
Well, that too, but we only got to see him ride like 6 laps. Timmy G crashed.
I wasn't really that impressed, to be honest with you.
Hard. No, he wasn't as impressive as I thought he might be. As I had it hyped up in my mind that he was going to be awesome, he wasn't as awesome. Tim Geiser, finally made it over. Did you watch any of the interviews that anybody did with him? Like Michael Lindsay?
Michael Lindsay. No, I was just watching some of his Insta videos at his track in fucking Slovenia.
Yeah, no, there were guys kept asking him like, so is this like a tryout or whatever for you coming over here full time in a year or 2 or blah 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 whatever? And he just kind of kept dancing around it. He never really said yes.
Well,
no.
He's coming over. Everybody knows it. Yeah. So I don't know why people keep asking him that.
But yeah, was not as impressive as I thought he was going to be.
But he's literally like, okay, and we both have high expectations for this kid because if anybody really watch him, biased or not, like he is one of the most naturally talented dudes on a dirt bike in the world.
Yep.
Like you watch him when he gets into a flow, and dude, it's I always talk about with Marvin, it's poetry in motion. Like Timmy uses a little bit more body language than Marv.
Well, look at Dis Nations qualifying day.
Just kills it. He just kills it. The kid is so fluid. But let's be real, this is also not a true Supercross track, and I think that's why everybody thought that he was going to maybe do good because of SMX Cup last year.
Yep.
He doesn't ride Supercross. Like, he literally maybe rides Supercross 5 times a year. Mm-hmm. And even at that, if anybody watches his Insta videos, his Supercross track is not a real Supercross track.
No.
It literally looks like an overgrown arena cross track.
Yes.
So I think that anybody that wants to be hard on him needs to pump the brakes a little bit, but also let's be fair and be critical of him. That before he crashed, he was going backwards real quick in a hurry. And I think had he not crashed, he might have been lucky to even get 8th.
Yeah, he was going to be in the top 10, I think, but that was about it.
But it wasn't going to be anywhere near. Like, he
No.
was in 4th or whatever it was, and he was going back to, like, 7th.
Yeah,
real
well,
quick.
that second moto, he had a good, or that second start to the first moto, he had a really good start. The first start, he didn't. He was like 15th or 17th.
He was buried.
Yeah, he was way back there. So, you know, I'll hold judgment till he comes over in a couple of years.
And once again, let's be fair to him too. It's not like he's putting all of his eggs in his basket to get ready for Supercross.
No.
Like, he literally came off MX of Nations and probably had like a week of testing.
Well, he said he's been here since Sunday, riding and stuff, and he rode at Carmichael's, and he's been riding the Honda test track. And it was funny because they said, when they interviewed him, they said, well, we heard that they told you, hey, don't worry about doing the whole track because, like, there's no whoops or anything. And he's like, no, I ride all track. And he rode the whole thing, like, whoops and everything. So, and they said he was pretty impressive, you know, for the test track or whatever.
Yeah, everybody's impressive when you're by yourself.
So, whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll wait a couple years and see how he does when he comes over, and this is what he's going to do, actually. So,
but we talked about it, though, when we did our podcast, when we did our few podcasts for the GPs, that talking about him, that it was going to take him, like most guys coming over, it would take him a year to get adapted to Supercross.
Yep.
You know, he's going to be an outdoor threat. He's not going to be a Supercross threat right away.
And the thing is he's still young, so...
Yeah, so, and, you know, they're just...
And he's not going to be like Kenny, where he comes over and rides, or Kenny or Marv, or any of them, where he comes over and rides 250s. He's going to go right to 450s. And...
Yeah, and let's be honest, Honda's all waiting for that moment, so when their roster is Ken Roczen, Tim Geiser. Mm-hmm. Which also is weird to me, because that'll be, I think, the first time in in U.S. history with teams that they have no American rider on a factory team.
Kenny's kind of American.
No, he's not. He adopts the American swag.
American-ish.
But, because I think it's just going to be those two. I don't think you're going to have a third option. Yeah. So that'll be kind of weird to see that, even though Honda is Japan, like one of the most American-recognized teams for motocross, with not one American on the team. They're like, hey, whatever, it works.
Whatever's clever, I guess. So. Yeah, okay, so moving on. Barcia. Thoughts on Barcia?
You know, well, I mean, you can't put a lot of stock on it.
Question, because this was a talk on Pulp last Monday. What did you think of Barcia's bike? You didn't like it?
I didn't like the blue seat.
I thought it was all right.
I didn't like there was too much A-stars on there. I know that's one of his main sponsors. But
I wasn't like fired up like, oh my god, this is great. But I wasn't shitting on it like a lot of people were.
I wasn't shitting on it, but I definitely didn't think. I think it was a little bit too busy.
You literally just went, that's like a shit noise.
No, it was too busy.
Like literally, I should put a shit emoji in that.
No, it was too busy. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it.
And he was that busy. I don't know. I thought it was okay.
I just like how he put the 4-hire on the exhaust systems.
That was
the
funny.
4-hire on the Yosh tips.
That was funny.
As for Barcia...
Anyway, performance-wise, what do we think?
I thought he did good. I mean, let's be real. He's not on a factory bike. You know, Tim Bennett at TCD is helping him out with the suspension. That he's had a long-standing relationship for a while. Yoshimura is giving him exhaust system and tuning. Jamie Ellis at Twisted Development's doing his motor. And this the guys that have been there, and, you know, I know everybody's seen it, whether it was Racer X, Transworld, Vital, Motocross Action Mag. They did all these videos with him. Which, by the way, was funny because he was at the Cowie test track. He wasn't even at the Honda test track. He was like, hey, Mitch, I know we've been friends for a while. Can I go ride your track? And then you see just Cowie's, and he's the only Honda out there. You know, 10th the first moto, was running 5th, got zapped the last lap by Dino and ended up 6th. And then the second moto just ran 5th and just kind of hovered around there. I thought he did good. I mean, I don't think there was a lot of expectation for him because he was literally on a bike that... He's
been on for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and he went from riding East Coast dirt a few days to riding West Coast, and it's concrete out there. But you're coming into a race where you don't have a base setting because the bike is all brand new to him, and you've been riding a Yamaha and a Suzuki for the past few years. So, I mean, if anybody thought he was going to get a podium, they were a little bit out of their cuckoo nest.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't going to. But, I mean, he did good. But everybody will say, well, he didn't really beat anybody. You know, all he beat was Jordan Smith and JG at one of the races and whatever. But he did what he had to do. He got a top 5. He was in the top 5, hovering for both motos and stuff. And he was aggressive. You know, him and Dino had a nice little battle the second main. And he rode good. And I honestly think, I don't care what anybody says, I think last night, as much as I talk about how not a lot of emphasis, I think he ends up with a ride coming into A1.
You think he's going to get a ride?
Yeah, he's going to get a ride.
Where?
He's going to get a ride with Moto Concepts. They will pick him up because as much as I hate to say it and I like Jake Weimer, you cannot bet that Jake Weimer is going to be healthy for a whole entire year. And Jake Weimer is not faster than Justin Barcia.
No.
Vince Freeze is not faster than Barcia.
But Weimer's supposed to be fine come start of the season.
Okay, so then they put him on. They get another guy. They have Brayton, Freeze, and Weimer. Barcia ends up on a ride. If Weimer and Freeze can get a ride, don't sit there and tell me that Barcia doesn't deserve a ride. Because I know we have this conversation a lot, and I know that you don't. We're both critical
I guess
of him.
it just depends how much Genova wants to spend out of his pocket this
He's got
year.
enough money.
Well, we all know that, but...
Okay, so you can't tell me that after last night, and we had this conversation, and I know how you felt. I know you put your blog up, but in a personal matter with us texting back and forth, you didn't expect a lockout of Barcia because I know how you feel about it. I don't like the kid either, but you are harsher on him. You didn't think he was going to finish. You thought he was going to have a bad race and just kind of pull off, and he didn't. Okay, so you can't. So you honestly believe his race last night didn't offer him a ride?
I don't know if I ever said he was going to have a bad race and pull off.
No, you said he was going to have a bad moto, and then he was not going to put a lot of effort into the next two or one or two.
Okay, well, that's not pull off. Okay, let's just get that straight.
Riding around.
Second off,
Riding around.
he crashed on the start bottom of the start ramp in press day. All right.
Yeah, but that honestly really wasn't his fault. That was a traction issue.
Well, I'm just saying that was funny that like you were hyping. Oh, he's gonna be so good. He's gonna be so
He
good.
was
And then
good.
he fucking boom at the bottom of the start gate.
Okay,
Like,
so
can't
let's
make it
talk-
on a fucking hill. Like,
Let's talk about what that does not matter. That was press day. Let's talk about the race.
But yeah, no, I thought he did all right last night.
Okay, so you don't think last night doing as well as he did that does not deserve a ride?
I didn't say it didn't deserve a ride, but there isn't anywhere for him.
So make a spot. Not on a factory team.
Yeah, bend over right there, buddy. I'll pull the money right out of your ass, and we'll make it.
Let's be real.
Let's
be real. A lot of these private owners have the money to make a spot.
I mean,
Does
maybe.
Jake Weimer deserve a ride over Justin Barcia? Does Vince Freeze deserve a ride over Justin Barcia?
Vince Freeze is...
We're not talking about the tickle thing, so I won't talk about tickle.
Vince Freeze is grandfathered in.
But does he deserve a ride over Justin Barcia?
Well, I don't honestly know that I've heard a lot about what he's like to deal with.
I don't care about what he's like to deal with. I'm talking about results and fan base alone.
Okay. But that's part of like having
No,
an
it's not.
employee.
These
Yes,
guys-
it is.
these guys
yes,
don't
it
care.
is.
These
That's
guys
part
don't
of
care
having
about
an
that. No.
employee. You're so full of shit.
No,
That's
I'm
part
not.
of having
No,
an
no.
employee.
That's
If
the
I
mo-
have,
no,
if
no,
I
no.
have to choose between someone, okay. First off, we're not winning a title. Period with either of these guys.
No.
Okay. So if I have to choose between someone who is good to work with, the team gets along with, he's not a asshole about stuff, like all that kind of crap, over a guy who's a prick, the team doesn't like him, his results are maybe, 2 spots better?
No!
Whatever. Then
Barcia is
fine.
way better than Vince Freeze.
Barcia, okay. Vince Freeze, well, I don't know.
Barcia is 10 spots better than Vince Freeze. Vince Freeze's average finish last year in Supercross was 19th.
That, yes.
And we both
But,
know that
okay,
Vince Freeze
let's get off the Vince Freeze thing, because Vince Freeze is on that team because Vince Freeze has been on that team forever, okay? Because they didn't have anyone to sign before, and they had him, so whatever. Let's focus on the Jake Weimer thing, though. You think Barcia's that much
Yes.
better
Oh,
than
yeah.
Jake Weimer?
Yes.
That much
Has Jake
better.
Weimer ever sniffed a podium? Never. Jake
Okay.
Weimer's never sniffed a podium.
Okay.
Jake Weimer's never even competed in an outdoor national in the 450 class.
Okay. What has Barcia's points finish has been the last 2 years?
What have I told you about this? It doesn't matter about the points. If you get in the top 5, you get your team more money than if you get 12th in the points. Every time you get a top 5, you get your sponsors money. Who's going to have a better shot
Okay,
at
but
getting the
Barcia
top 5?
hasn't been there to get a top 5, period.
He was top 5
That's the
outdoors.
point.
He was top 5 outdoors.
Okay, but now
What's Jake
now
Weimer-
we're
Jake
going
Weimer don't
apples
even
to
ride
oranges.
outdoors.
Now we're going apples to oranges again here.
Do you
Let's go.
you really think a lot of these kids, you think Joey Savacci's easy to deal with?
No, I don't. That's
And
why
does
I
he
wouldn't
ever-
sign him either.
Does he have a ride year in year out? Because he does good and people like him.
Yes.
Okay, you need to realize that all these guys are pain in the asses to deal with. Nobody really likes, aside from maybe Ken Roxon and Villapoto. Nobody liked dealing with him, but he won all the time. Okay. and
Yeah,
people
but
liked
he's
him.
winning a title. That's
doesn't
the thing.
matter.
And
And
again,
Barcia's a top 5 guy.
you're in a completely different era. Back then, there were there were less dudes and more rides. Now there's more dudes
You think
and
Weston
less
Pike? You
rides.
think Weston Pike's easy to deal with? Because I know for a fact Weston, he's not easy to deal with. He's kind of a jackass, but I like him. You think Martin Davalos is easy to deal with? You think
I don't,
Jason
I
Anderson?
don't know. I don't
okay,
know.
and that's
I don't
the
know
thing.
I don't know these guys, but I know the reputation Barcia has.
Okay,
and
how many followers
Why
does
does
Justin
Malcolm
Barcia?
Stewart not have a ride?
Because he
Malcolm
doesn't
Stewart
ride
doesn't
outdoors.
have a ride
Because he doesn't ride outdoors.
he doesn't ride outdoors. Number
Justin
one,
Barcia rides
but
outdoors.
these teams have openly said we don't want to sign him because we don't want to deal with your dad.
No, they don't want to sign him because he wants too much money.
No,
He wants too much
it
money.
literally has been said. Literally has been. I've
Then
heard it.
Then why James get signed?
That they don't sign him. That's why fucking James was having a hard time getting a ride
James
after
didn't
this.
have a hard time finding a ride. Anybody that said that is lying. He didn't have a hard time finding a ride. He's James Stewart.
Because Malcolm Stewart would get
S-
better finishes than Justin Barcia and Jake Weimer.
No, he would not have better finishes than Justin Barcia.
Get the fuck over it.
I'm telling you,
I
dude.
cannot deal with this right now.
Why? Because you don't like
Holy
banter?
crap.
You don't like banter?
No, I love banter, but you're just like way off over here.
But
in
you
La
think-
La
okay,
Land.
you
if
think
he is so good,
He is good.
then why doesn't he have a fucking ride?
Because nobody wants to deal with the bullshit that becomes with Justin Barcia. Because
Thank you. That's what we're just arguing about. Holy
would
shit.
you let me finish? Would you let me finish? Would you let me finish?
You just made my
Would you
point.
let me finish? Would you let me talk? Nobody wants to deal with the bullshit that comes around with Justin Barcia because the people that hate him always have bad things to say about him. It has nothing to do with him. It's all this talk that, oh, hey, Red Bull doesn't like him. Okay, so Monster sponsored him, still has a Monster Energy sponsorship. Red Bull said, oh, we want Brock Tickle because we don't like all the shit that comes around with him. Okay, what happened to Martin Davalos this past Supercross season? What happened with him with his Instagram account? You were married and you're going after a 19-year-old girl to send nudes? Okay, dude, you need to realize that all these guys have baggage.
They do all have
They all have baggage, and they can't. A lot of these guys that have... Does Filthy Phil Nicoletti deserve a ride over Justin Barcia? No! He does not deserve a ride over Justin Barcia. Filthy Phil does not deserve a ride.
Does pretty well outdoors.
Bro, he didn't even get top 10 one moto in his last 4 rounds that he rode.
This year?
Yes.
He was fucking hurt for the whole season.
I don't give a fuck.
You come back with 4 rounds to go.
What does he do in Supercross? Oh, he got hurt.
He got hurt.
He got hurt.
He doesn't have a ride for Supercross.
Yes, he does.
He
has a ride.
He's a fill-in.
He has a
dude.
JGR ride.
He was
I know
a
for a fact.
250
And he has a
last
JGR
year.
ride now.
Okay, great.
JGR re-signed him.
Great. So for last year he had a 250 ride and he got hurt. Now he's got a JGR ride again for this year.
For no reason. It's because they like him.
So before that, he didn't even have a Supercross ride. He was just a fucking fill-in guy. So of course he didn't fucking
And
do anything.
JGR was still keeping him around because he was riding at the track every frickin' day.
Because he's a fill-in guy.
Yeah, but he still had a ride. So fill-in means you have a ride.
He's a fill-in dude.
And he still had a contract with him.
No, a
They were
fill-in
literally
guy is like,
paying
hey,
him.
hey,
They were
if-
paying him.
If something
They
happened.
were paying him.
Okay, paying him fucking...
He had a contract.
50 grand to be like, hey,
Better than a privateer.
you're going to test ride.
Better than
and
a
if
privateer.
somebody gets hurt, okay...
Your issue is you just don't like Justin Barcia. But you cannot sit there and literally tell me these guys that have a ride, these back-end
He
guys...
hasn't done anything
What has Jake Weimer
in
done?
3
What has Jake Weimer
fucking
done?
years.
What has
Well,
Jake Weimer
at least
done?
Jake Weimer was top 10 in the fucking
What did Jake
points
Weimer
2
do?
years
What was
ago.
his best finish?
And I don't know, but 2 years ago he was at least top 10 in the fucking Supercross
Barcia's best
points.
finish was a 5th. And he got close to the podium. Jake Weimer hasn't sniffed a podium ever in his life.
First off, let's get this out there on the table. No one outdoors is down here, Supercross is up here.
I'm talking about Supercross.
Okay?
Okay, I'm talking about Supercross.
Okay.
Okay, what has Vince Freeze done in his whole Supercross career other than make highlight reels from teeing dudes up and getting his ass beat west to west?
Main highlight. I don't know.
What is Filthy Phil Nicoletti?
But again, Vince Freeze is just grandfathered in
But that's my point, that he has a ride for no reason and he hasn't done anything. He has a ride for no reason. So this goes to my point. You have a ride for no reason. You literally don't show results. You're in the LCQ every weekend. The only reason people know you is because you tee people up. You haven't done anything in your whole 450 career, but yet you have an established guy, whether he's done bad over the years or people don't like him, he still gets in the top 10 with his best races and could get a podium if he feels like it. And he has an assload of followers, and he doesn't have a ride. So this is the problem. This is the argument why I always get in an argument with people. They can say, oh, I don't like him, oh, this and that. But yet when I throw facts and I'll be like, oh, his best results are better, nobody can give me a reason why this other guy deserves one. Grandfathered in or not, I don't fucking care about that.
Well, apparently you need to because they have a ride and he doesn't.
And that's the issue with this industry. That's the issue with this industry. And I can go on a more of a tangent why 250 guys that don't have rides than over other guys, certain guys that are getting factory rides and taking zero money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have insight too, and I know that it's bullshit.
Well, that's the business of it, though.
That's not a business.
If I could sign a dude who's gonna get me decent results, and I don't have to pay him, fuck yeah, I'm going to.
So that makes it okay that he deserves it over a guy just because he'll take less money?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No.
You don't even make any sense.
I do make sense.
So you want to pay a dude
That's gonna do better.
that's gonna do the same result?
No, that's gonna do better.
No. Now we're on something different.
No,
here.
I know for a fact there's guys in the 250 class right now that are veterans that have rides that aren't better than guys that don't have rides, and they're taking less money. So they're not going to do better. They're taking less money.
So the veterans are taking less money, or the kids are?
No, the veterans are taking less money
than the kids.
Than the kids that deserve have rides that are better than them. Yes, I know that for a fact.
Okay.
Yes.
But what are better results? Are we talking?
Better results are like 5, 6, being there for every race, not being hurt, not causing drama, going and racing nationals.
Are we talking titles?
No, we're
Then
talking.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely doesn't.
It does.
Absolutely doesn't.
It does.
If
Travis, if every time you get a top 5, you get your sponsor's money. If you're getting 10th, it doesn't matter. Dude, I've been doing this my whole entire life. I know what matters and what doesn't. You think that titles are the only thing that matters to these guys. If titles were the only thing that matters, they wouldn't have 4 or 5 guys on a team, and Cameron McAdoo wouldn't have a ride right now. And Sean Cantrell wouldn't have a ride right now. And Mike Mosman wouldn't have a ride right now.
Mosman's like a rookie.
And he wouldn't have a ride because he has no shot at winning a championship ever in his life. As much as I like Mike Mosman, he's never going to win a title.
I mean, maybe.
No, not maybe. He's never going to win one.
I mean, maybe.
No, not maybe. He's never going to win one. Sean Cantrell's never going to win a title.
I mean, maybe.
No, not maybe. Never going to win a title.
Can you pull the crystal ball out?
Yeah, I can pull the crystal ball because I know these kids. They're never going to win a title. I get passionate about this shit because there's a kid sitting at home right now in Florida that doesn't have a ride, that was top 10 in both classes, and is getting fucked over by the system.
I know it sucks, but that's part of it.
And that's the thing that goes back to my whole point of why the industry is screwed up.
Well, the whole industry is screwed up, but that's a whole nother cast thing.
So it goes back to the whole Barcia deserves a ride, whether you like the guy or not. People don't like him, but he deserves a ride. And I guarantee now he would take less money, just like Dean Wilson did.
Well, yeah, and he might have to do the first few rounds, and then, yes, he probably will get picked up. Someone will probably pick him up because somebody's going to be hurt.
He just deserves a ride.
Whatever.
I'm not saying he deserves a factory ride, but I get heated about this shit because there's guys that don't deserve rides, and they get rides over guys that do deserve rides, that have better results, have done better than they ever will, but yet they don't have them because they're a little bit hard to deal with. Newsflash, people. These people are humans, and they've been handed everything their whole entire life and been patted on the ass, told them they're going to be, oh, you're going to be this, they're going to be that, don't have college education, don't even have high school educations. That's why they're hard to deal with. Michael Lessie, perfect example.
That fucking guy.
It just pisses me off. Like, I get really heated about this shit, so I don't like talking about it because it annoys the hell out of me. There's a guy at Geico right now that has a ride that doesn't deserve one. And I'm not going to name names so people can think about it.
You alright?
Yeah, no, I'm pissed. It annoys the shit out of me. I hate it.
Do you need a break? Should we come back in 5 seconds?
No, we're good now. We're
Okay.
good. We can get to Jordan Smith.
Jordan Smith!
Look good. Been riding a 252 stroke.
Solid finish, top 5.
Seriously, though, you think that puts a little bit of pep in his step going into Supercross?
Hopefully, but I don't know that he necessarily needed it. He had a pretty good Supercross season last year.
Yeah, considering, I don't know, man. I hope it gives him a little bit of confidence because I think that he can be a title threat, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, he got dicked outdoors because he got hurt at Vegas, but I mean, whatever. So, okay. 3 more things here because I didn't write that Marv even won on there. We're not talking about Marv.
We don't care about
We don't
Marv.
even give a shit about
We
Marv.
don't care about Marv.
Brock Tickle looked pretty solid.
He did.
For his debut on it. I thought he looked pretty good on the KTM.
He looks slimmer. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he looked slimmer. And, he was... It honestly was that signing probably was okay for them because he was battling in the top 5.
Do you think that that's any indication of how Supercross is actually going to go?
I don't know.
Or do you think that was just because it was a...
That still remains to be seen. And again, I'm still on the train with that of this is the ultimate test for all.
Because it's a 1-year contract.
Yeah, because it's a 1-year deal. can Alden take a guy who's pretty set in his ways and, well, not necessarily set in his ways. He's willing to learn, but a guy who is older.
He's been doing it for a long time.
And yeah, and can he take him to the next level, a la what he did with Zach Osborne last year? Can he do that with Brock Tickle? Not necessarily title, because I don't think there's a chance in hell Tickle wins a 450 title, but at least put him top 5 podium every single week? I don't know.
I mean, he did look good.
Yeah,
he looks fit. I mean, he's always been fit, but he's always been a big, thick, stocky dude, and I think that's an indication of being down at Eldon's house for as long as he has.
Yep.
I was a little bit hesitant. I still am, just because of Brock's, I don't want to call him bad moments, because he never really does bad, but his just iffy days where he's not really feeling it, but he's riding good. If that's going to be like, hey, was it worth signing this dude? But I mean, if he rides like that, I truly believe that Roger and Ian just went to Brock and be like, top 8. Just be top 8 every weekend.
Yep.
Don't matter if it's Supercross or outdoors. Just be top 8. It was worth it.
Yep.
But here's my question. Say he gets like 9th in Supercross, because I don't know, actually, because are we really decided, is he a better Supercross guy or is he a better outdoor guy? Because they're always the same.
I don't know. He's just solid.
Isn't that kind of like the ultimate guy, though, where you really don't know which one he's better at? Because we know which one of these guys. Oh, it was Millsap.
Millsap's won in 2014.
I like how they picked
We
him.
were having that discussion earlier that we've got the race on.
So,
and anyway.
1, 2, okay. Well, no, Barcia wasn't a monster guy then.
Barcia wasn't a monster guy then.
And Davey wasn't either.
No.
So 2 monster guys at one.
Won the monster race. Jesus Christ.
But anyways, back to Tickle. So okay, say KTM, say he gets 9th in the points in Supercross, and I don't think that's where he's going to finish. But say he gets 9th, and say he gets 7th in outdoors. Cooper Webb's contract's up at Yamaha next year. Does KTM keep Brock Tickle, or do they go after Cooper Webb and tell Tickle to beat it?
I think they're going to go after Coop, and Yamaha's going to go away.
But so what happens to Brock Tickle? That was my ultimate question. It wasn't really about Yamaha.
I don't know.
So do you think no matter what, unless he just completely sets the world on fire, he doesn't get signed again next year?
Yes.
Okay. That's my question, because I think that's the ultimate. It's crazy, but that's what we do with this stuff. We think that far ahead. I think that's the ultimate question with his contract signing. Mm-hmm. This is the ultimate performance contract. Mm-hmm. What he does this year completely weighs on what he gets signed for if he gets signed next year. Or the other thing would be they go back to 3 dudes like they had before, and they keep him. Do you think that's a good idea with KTM? Or do you think that they need to do what a lot of these teams are doing and just stay with 2?
Do I think it's a good idea? I think it's a great idea that all of them have 3 guys, and I bet you if you talk to Kawasaki after the way that Vegas went down last year, I bet you they would be very excited to find
come back for a
find a 3rd guy that they would like to deal with and would be able to run in the top 8 for them. Oh yeah. So, okay, so let's continue on with the Baker boys. Ando got 2nd, was not happy.
Which I keep saying I don't think will be a Baker boy for too much longer.
I don't know. He's still there, so...
I think he's just over it. I think he is over being second fiddle. Well, I think he is. Maybe. And we'll get into it when we do our preview for Anaheim 1. But I expect... Last night, I think, was a true showing that after the first main that Ando was just like, yeah, I was pissed, but he wasn't really feeling it. I expect a lot out of Ando.
So, went so long on the old Barcia tangent there. We killed battery on this one. So anyway, won't be doing a West Coast light.
Too hard to figure out.
Yeah, So
we'll be doing a nice one, though, like we did last year.
Yep. So, anywho, don't forget, remember, subscribe, like, comment. We'll see you guys in a few weeks for the silly season video that we'll come up with. So, we'll see everybody then.
Tasty.
Very nice. I don't really want to come sit over by you now.
It didn't smell.
Yeah, I'm sure it didn't.
It didn't.
That's a fucking lie.
You're a fucking lie.
You're right, Dave.
That's unnecessary.
Aggressive.
That's very aggressive. Why do you gotta go there?
Alright. Okay, alright. Let's fucking
make a memory.
Let's make a memory here.
Let's make a memory.
Alright, so scene 1, take 1, 3, 2, 1, and... Alright, welcome back to...